Rent is exorbitant, groceries are astronomical, the world is on fire, and everything sucks. So to help me stay sane, I want to talk about some good and cool things. SAMBIB. Hello folks, welcome back to Stuff I Make Because I'm Bored. My name is Sin and I will be your host, and today I want to talk to you about some cool and good things that have happened so far in 2023. There are some unspeakable horrors happening in the world right now, and it feels like everything is collapsing in on itself, and it can make life feel hopeless. But it's not. Good things have happened and will continue to happen, so let's dive into some. Part 1, Animals. There were a lot of good stories about wild animals returning in 2023, so here's a couple snippets for you. A. The white rhino population has increased by a significant 5.2% since 2021, the largest increase since 2012. B. A new pack of at least 5 gray wolves has been spotted in California. The endangered animals are moving further south out of Oregon, back to their natural habitats. C. A wolverine was spotted multiple times in California this year. Prior to this, a wolverine was spotted in February of 2008 in the Truckee region of the Tahoe National Forest, and prior to that, the last confirmed wolverine sightings in California were in the 1920s. D. 5 female platypuses have been released back into Royal National Park in Sydney 50 years after they were last seen in the wild, with males to be released shortly after. The goal is to see how they will survive, and the hope is that they will thrive. E. 19 wildcats are being reintroduced to the Cairngorms National Park, and they are thriving. They are being closely monitored to make sure that they are healthy, that they don't interbreed with house cats, and in the coming years, researchers hope to release 60 more juveniles. F. Beavers went extinct in the UK during the 1600s thanks to overhunting. But thanks to the efforts of local conservationists, 5 beavers have been reintroduced to the local wetlands. The hope is that they will help shape the natural landscape to bring back biodiversity. G. A species of lizard called the earless dragons have returned to the wild since their assumed extinction over 50 years ago. They are native to Austria, but researchers are keeping quiet about where exactly this elusive lizard was spotted. Part 2, Nature and Climate. Animals weren't the only ones making strides this year. We also made strides in combating climate change. A. Wind and solar produced more energy in the EU during May 2023 than all fossil fuels combined. They made up nearly a third of all energy produced in the EU, compared to 27% created by fossil fuels. B. Remember a few years ago where everybody was yelling about a hole in the ozone layer and then everybody just suddenly stopped yelling about it? That's because thanks to the efforts of 197 countries, nearly 99% of banned ozone-depleting substances have been successfully phased out, and the ozone is expected to make a complete recovery by 2066 over the Antarctic, in 2045 over the Arctic, and by 2040 for the rest of the world. C. A species of holly tree has been rediscovered in Brazil after it was thought to have been extinct for nearly 200 years. It was the 9th most wanted on a list created by Rewild, who created a list of 2,200 missing species across 160 countries. It includes species that have been lost to science for at least 10 years, but many have been thought to be extinct for much longer. They've rediscovered 8 so far. D. The coral reefs of the world are highly susceptible to changes in temperature, acidity, and nutrient levels in the ocean, and when there's an event that causes a lot of it to die off, they can be prevented from returning because their habitat gets overgrown with seaweed that outcompetes them. But scientists have taken to the oldest trick in the book: gardening. It is a stopgap measure, but taking to the oceans and weeding out the intrusive seaweed only 2 to 3 times per year has resulted in an incredible 1.5 to 6 times the increase in local coral growth. The seaweed can even be used on land for fertilizer, biofuels, and there's even promising research that it can be used as a carbon sink. So gardening is just a win-win-win-win. F. An abandoned golf course in Ohio was bought out by the local Summit Metro Parks, who have undertaken a Herculean effort to remove the invasive species introduced by the golf course, redirecting the river to its natural path, and reintroducing native species to this habitat. So far, the biodiversity has increased from only about 250 species of fish and wildlife to over 900. G. Scientists have discovered that there is a thriving ecosystem under the very crust of the Earth. After overturning some chunks of volcanic crust, scientists discovered an extensive cave network under the ocean, with plants, bacteria, and even animals thriving in the 24 degrees Celsius waters. This shows that life around hydrothermic vents is even more complicated than we thought, and it shows that life can exist in even more diverse environments than we ever thought before. Part 3. Science! Talking about animals and the climate is amazing, but marine biologists aren't the only scientists. Now, this is less about good news and more about cool news. A 5-year-old was cured of sickle cell anemia thanks to a breakthrough medical achievement. The child, Toby Okunsende, received a bone marrow transplant from his younger brother Kwasi and has made an unprecedented full recovery. Toby was diagnosed with sickle cell anemia when he was just 1 year old, and at the time the disease was perceived as incurable. B. Scientists in Scotland have created a palm oil alternative made from a byproduct from the linseed industry plus natural fiber and rapeseed oil. Its consistency is a bit mayo-like, and from their studies behaves and tastes identically to palm oil, while being 70% better for the environment than the production of palm oil. Here's to hoping that the food and cosmetics industry switches to this soon. C. India's moon probe, Chandrayaan-3, was launched earlier this year and landed on the moon's south pole on August 23rd, making them the first country to ever have done so successfully. The South Pole is the area on the moon in permanent shadow and is theorized to hold water in the form of ice. The rover holds the Indian flag and also has 5 scientific instruments to record what it'll find. D. Okay, so this one is of personal interest to me, but Europe has launched their interplanetary space probe JUICE. JUICE, or the Jupiter Icy Moons Explorer, is a space probe that was launched to investigate the icy moons of Jupiter, and I, for one, cannot wait. It's estimated to reach Jupiter in 2031 and land on Ganymede in 2034, so we do have a while yet to wait, but that's even more reason to stick around, right? E. And finally, though the James Webb Space Telescope was launched in 2021, it continues to contribute to our knowledge of space. Should I rename this section to space? In September 2023, it took images of a planet 8.6 times the mass of Earth and found that there were molecules there that carried carbon, including methane and carbon dioxide, in the atmosphere. It even found potential traces of a molecule called dimethyl sulfide, which on Earth is only created by life. Combined, this means this planet may have water on its surface and even be hosting life. Closing thoughts. That concludes the good and cool things that I wanted to share with you that happened this year. I wanted to pick interesting or scientifically important articles, since those interest me personally, but this barely scratches the surface of the amazing work that people have been doing this year. Plus, I didn't even add any articles about individual people doing wonderful things for their communities. Fundraising, risking their lives to save others, people reuniting with loved ones after years apart. Not to mention the incredible force of protesters that have swept the world globally, fighting for LGBTQ rights, climate activism, and supporters for Palestine. So yes, the world is on fire, and we may be exhausted from fighting. But when all hope seems lost, remember that there is good in this world, Mr. Frodo, and it's worth fighting for. What's some good news that you've heard about? What's something good that's happened to you this year? And what's something that you're looking forward to? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for spending some time with me. Leave a like and subscribe if you'd like to see more videos like this in the future. I post videos every Tuesday at noon Eastern. If you want to hear from me more often, you can follow me on my social medias. You can find the ads here and in the description. But that's all for today, folks. I'll see you in the next video. Bye! Simbib, stuff I make because I'm bored. Small update on the cats. They're doing really well. Evie is a lot more skittish than Yuna, but she did spend a full half hour napping next to me on the couch yesterday, so I'm definitely making progress.